Hey, what's up everybody? It's Whole Mars with another new FSD version, FSD 12.5.6. This is the first version that brings end-to-end on the highways to the sexy vehicles. So let's go try it out. Let's see if it can take us from parking spot to parking spot without me having to touch a thing. Take me to the Kettle in Manhattan Beach. Alright, there we go. It should take about 30 minutes to get to our destination. Let's go. See what this new version can do. Right off the bat, the issue with it sometimes waiting forever when you ask it to start driving. I haven't seen that occur yet. Okay, seems to be struggling a little bit to figure out how to get out of the parking lot. It wants to make a left through these parking spots, which is a little bit unusual. Seems to be a little confused now. It seems to be stopped. Interesting. It's almost like it decided to park. Let me give it a little accelerator push. Okay. Now it's resumed driving. It's trying to figure out how to get out of this parking lot. Maybe it just wanted to sit and rest for a bit. Slowing down nicely for the speed bump there and the dips in the road. It wants to go right, which is a good way to get out of here. Want to make sure we take a route where we're seeing as much of the highway driving as possible rather than taking more of the surface streets. Beautiful left turn into the street. Getting up to the speed limit quickly here. Still driving 34. Really, the speed limit should be the minimum speed. And they have this new max speed setting. It says 52 max, but it's still going at the speed limit. So I'm not really sure if that helped it drive faster at all. It could just be that maybe because it's a new version, it's driving a little slower. Let's see. Up ahead, we've got some pretty gnarly construction. There's a car passing us. We need to get over into this lane to go around all the construction here. Looks like most of the road is blocked off. It's having us go into the far right lane here. This version does seem to stop much later than other versions, which is kind of good in a way. Okay, and it's now making a right turn, even though it was supposed to go straight. So I think that was maybe just kind of its way of avoiding the construction. And it's rerouting now, picking a new route to still get on the freeway and get to the destination. Very foggy night tonight. I wonder if maybe that's the reason why it might be driving a little slower, but who knows? It's been driving under the speed limit on older versions even in the daytime. Very smooth left turn there. Now we got to make another left turn. Got a speed bump here, slowing down to about 10, which is great. Now we're making a right turn back onto Fairfax. You can see the construction's still here, so I didn't really avoid all the construction. But it did try and go around it, and now it's back on the road. Very nice. Acceptable. Nice, no slamming on the brake for the yellow light. I like it, very natural there. There's another car right behind us, but it's merging in very smoothly. But again, it's driving too slow. It's a 35 speed limit and it's going 30. The car behind us is probably thinking, how did I get stuck behind this idiot? Under no circumstances in LA should you be driving under the speed limit unless you're about to hit somebody. And this is in hurry mode. So if this is hurry mode, what's chill mode like? If I'm in hurry mode, you should never be going under the speed limit unless you really have to. So this is a major, major issue. For years with autopilot, you've been able to set it to whatever speed you want and it'll drive fast. Now it just refuses to drive fast, and that's going to make people turn it on a lot less, especially on long highway drives. So it's not really a max speed issue. Like, they've added this thing now where you can now scroll the speed up and down on the scroll wheel. You can set the max speed, but the model just seems to refuse to go above a certain speed. If you give it an accelerator press, it'll keep the higher speed for a while, but otherwise it'll just drive 5 under the speed limit. So this is a major issue. It needs to not only be able to drive, but be able to drive at or above the speed limit, or it's just going to frustrate people, including the passengers. It just keeps getting slower and slower. Okay, there you go. It heard me. It's feeling embarrassed. It could be the fog, I don't know. I mean, technically, if it is foggy, you are supposed to drive a little bit slower. So maybe it's just doing the right thing. Maybe it's because it's a new version, I don't know, but I hope in future drives I see it driving a little bit faster. Just a few miles an hour faster, and it would maybe be acceptable. And we're getting ready to now get onto the highway. We're going to get on the 10 west in a quarter mile, and we can see what end-to-end FSD is like on the highway on the Model 3. Alright, we're getting ready to get on the 10 west. I think this is the on-ramp. And here we go. So it's merging onto the highway way too slow in my opinion, 50 miles an hour. And you can see it now says hurry when you get on the highway. It says the speed profile. So you can take the right scroll wheel and swipe it left and right to switch between profiles, and swipe it up and down to raise and lower the speed. And you can see it's already changed lanes all across the highway. Just so elegantly and perfectly that you don't even notice. And it's now picking up its speed. I mean, maybe this is how people are supposed to drive. Maybe they just trained it on non-insane people. And this is actually what people drive like. So it's going about 72. I would probably be going 75 to 80. I do have 85 set as the max speed. So why is it going so much slower than the max speed? Is it the fog? Is it the curves in the road? I think the model is just naturally timid. Hopefully it's just a new version thing, and as it's validated, they can get it to start driving faster. You know, I saw this on the Cybertruck highway FSD. I was doing a long drive, 400 miles, and I was just taking over a lot just because it was driving so slow. And I was like, well, I want to get where I'm going, and I'm tired of just pressing the accelerator. So I did about, 25% of the drive manually, just because it was driving so slow. So there needs to be a way for me to tell it, hey, drive fast. If I tell it to drive this speed, it should really make a much better effort to drive that speed. And it's getting ready to take the interchange now onto the 405 South. Just doing it very smoothly. You don't even notice it's happening. And we're about half a mile now from that interchange. This is pretty good. It's going about 75. I'm happy. Taking the exit for the 405 South. There's a little debris in the lane there that it went around. Taking the interchange at a good quick speed, although it is very foggy. Yeah, people are gonna love end-to-end on the highway. It really fixes a lot of the robotic issues you've seen in the highway driving, where you can just tell it's autopilot, it's not something a human would do. Because this is trained, just like the city street stack, on what humans actually do, it picks up on all kinds of human driving characteristics that the old version didn't have. You'll just see it do things and think, that's exactly what I would have done. And when it does exactly what you would do, there's less of a need to touch anything. Okay, it's driving way too slow. So 65 is the speed limit. Really, it should be going 80, 75 to 80. So interestingly, this guy passed me on the right lane and it started going faster. So I think it is looking at other cars a lot to determine what's a safe speed. And it could be that because there's no traffic right now, that's part of the reason why it's driving a little slower. All right, we are getting into the carpool lane now, which is permissible. Going a pretty good speed for the conditions. 75, maybe, a little bit less because of the fog. But I'm pretty happy with 75 and a 65. That's acceptable. So, gave it a minute and it did end up going to a good speed without me having to touch anything. What the hell was that? Just jumped out of the carpool lane without signaling or anything. And now it wants to get in the carpool lane again, crossing the double yellow line, which it's not allowed to do. Weird. It's kind of showing its blinker. It wants to get in, but it's not doing it. Still showing its blinker. Very odd. Older versions would correctly not show their blinker until the carpool lane opened up. Yeah, that was very strange. Didn't see anything like that on the first drive. We push that camera button.
That we didn't see, or if it just
Maybe.
Just did a weird thing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll check the footage. Okay, picking up speed now, 77. I like that. Okay, much better exit. Carpooling that time. Pretty thick fog here. Doesn't seem to phase the system. It's keeping lanes perfectly. Alright, we've got to get out of the freeway in 1.2 miles, and we're all the way in the left lane. Not in the carpool lane, but in the far left lane. So in 1 mile, it's got to exit the highway. And now it's starting to do that. And we know it's going to have no problem exiting the highway, even with just a mile to go. Okay. Oh, I like how it stayed to the left of the lane there as it passed that guy very quickly. We're traveling at a very high speed. Alright, shit. My GoPro turned off because it was too hot. I think I'm pushing it too hard. Alright, taking the exit ramp very fast. There's a lot of fog. Making a right turn. Making a right turn onto Manhattan Beach Boulevard. We're about 5 minutes away, 2.8 miles. Okay, it stopped at a red light, even though it should be free to go. Wasting a lot of time that we could have been moving. Okay, nice right turn there. It's interesting how it waits a little bit before going on green now. Older versions would just go immediately when it turned green. This version, since it's trained on humans, it picks up on little things humans do that a machine might not do necessarily. Instead of using this overly simplified logic like go on green, it just watches how humans actually do it. And so it works well with humans because it acts like a human. People sometimes run lights when it's yellow or red because that's just how humans behave. And they know that humans don't tend to go immediately when the light turns green, especially if they see somebody coming. So that little distinction, going immediately versus pausing for a second and checking to see if it's clear, that's a big difference that can have an impact on safety. So you can't really trust the engineers to think of every little thing that humans do and copy it exactly. An end-to-end approach where you just learn directly from humans, I think lets you achieve a level of safety and reliability that isn't possible with other frameworks. We're getting pretty close to our destination now, about 3 minutes away. Still pretty thick fog. And we're going to turn right onto Highland Avenue in about a mile. Alright, we're approaching our destination now. Should be right up ahead. And here's the restaurant to our right. And it is driving the wrong way down a one-way street. And it stopped in front of a fence. So overall, other than the one accelerator press in the parking lot, I was able to get from the Whole Foods next to the Grove to Manhattan Beach. Not perfect. There were a couple weird moments. That sudden jump out of the carpool lane. The fact that it tried to pull over going down this one-way street. But overall, I'd say it's pretty great. It's another big leap forward in smoothness, and I think people are going to love end-to-end on the highways. It also seems like actually Smart Summon has continued to improve. So this is a great update, I think, with a few more rounds of refinement. I think it should be ready to go wide, around 1010 maybe, and I think people are really going to enjoy it. Thanks for watching, everyone, and take care.